Hello my lovely crafty friends, and today we are back with Junk Journal January collaboration project hosted by Lindsey at the Vintage Button and Sandra at Be Happy Stationery. And today is day 16, which is print. And for today I'm going to put my prompt up on top of my little desk drawers, and we are going to flip through the journal to find the next page. So yesterday I did find the prompt. We created this silvery tree using acrylic inks and blowing them. And today, day 16, is print. And I've got quite a plain page today. And I sat and had a thought about print, and I was like, I could use newspaper print, I could use printed images, I could do some stamping. And then I thought, why not get the gel plate out? I do love creating gel plate backgrounds. So I'm going to put this all the way to one side so it's out safe and out of the way, because if you're anything like me, you make a mess when you gel plate print. So what I've got is I've got my little gel plate. I have got a larger one, but for this I'm just going to use a small one. I've got some acrylic paint in brown and some white gesso acrylic primer that just kind of lightens it. I've got some gold acrylic paint. And I've got my what's that? Yeah, the brayer, the rolly thing. And then I've got a whole load of different papers that I can print. So I've got book pages. That's looks like it's out of the yellow pages, some doilies, some more book pages, a bit of my wrapping paper, a bit of the kit, some tracing paper, and then that gold? Silvery bit of matte paper that I printed yesterday and didn't use. So what we're going to do, and I've got my box, bearing with, of all my kind of things that I use on the gel plate to create texture and pattern. I've got some old cake icing texture sheets that I used to use, bubble wrap, loads of little bits, a Lego board. That was from tape and actually needs trimming down a bit, but also like these things, like these are pot holders, but they make great print images. And I've got cotton reels and all sorts in there. So I'm going to put that to one side. Hang on. And I'm going to start nice and easy, just creating some simple prints to keep us going. I'm just going to start with those few bits. These are old coasters that were in a pack from Aldi with, there was larger placemats and coasters together, and I bought a pack. They were reduced a couple of Christmases ago, and there were two different designs, and I've split them with my other crafty friends, and we've each got kind of a bit of each. So to start with, just using your gel plate, I'm just going to blob some acrylic paint on, and I'm just going to rub it over. And you only really want quite a thin layer, and I do just keep working it until it starts to, you can see it changes texture. It starts to get a bit shiny where you're working the paint. So you just want an even coverage. I don't worry too much about having the bray lines in it. I don't clean mine in between because I tend to use the same colour. So let's just do a bubble print one first. So this is bubble wrap that I've used previously. So you can see I've used it on quite a few different colours. And I do just stick it over, giving it a little press down, so that the texture of the bubble wrap takes shape. This is a great way of creating your own collage papers. And then I'm just going to take this sheet out of my trusty flower book, and I'm just going to lay it over the top and just give it a little press down. I do find if you just use regular copy paper, I don't know why, but it tears the paper and then it becomes a pain in the butt to work with. So I tend to use different papers. It works with tracing paper, but it tears the copy paper, and actually it's tearing this one as well. So I'm just going to ease that off. There, see, it's torn it. Right, okay, so what I'm going to have to do is pause and clean off my plate and we'll start again. Okay, so I pretty much cleaned off the plate. All I did was spray the paper that was stuck with some water and just kind of peeled it off. And I'm just going to give the board a wipe, the gel plate a wipe. Let's try that again. Okay, let's try that again. So we're going to go in with a little bit of brown. I might even blob a little bit of gold in there as well. Okay, so the bit that I ripped off, actually that's not to waste. So it has created a print and I will use those little scrappy bits. But let's try again. So just a gentle roll of the paint. You can see that gold just creating a little bit of pattern. Okay. Lovely. Let's do the bubble wrap again. Let's hope today this is a little bit more successful. It's just typical, isn't it? And I do find that with some papers that it does that. It just rips the paper. So all I'm going to do this time is I'm going to use book page. Just give it a quick flatten down and then there we go, lifted the print. Okay, so just with the roller, because there's already paint on the roller, just going to go over it again, do some more bubble wrap. Lift, and let's see if that paper will work this time. Just going down. Just a quick flatten. Yes. Oh, it does not like this paper. It's a little bit sticky, but here we go. There we go. And you can see it was just starting to stick again. But we've got two, so I'm just going to give this a little bit of a spray. And just to clean off, just because we have got bits of paper stuck to it. Just a little bit of a clean off. Just don't want those bits of paper stuck to it. Right, let's do some different brown. Let's add a little bit of white to it this time. And you don't need, excuse me, you don't need an awful lot of paint. As I said, you just are doing enough just to coat your gel plate. There's a little bit of paper in there. There we go. And let's do, so I'm going to use this paper napkin. And I'm just, paper doily. Just going to tap it over. Okay, then I'm going to lift the doily. And you can see it's created the pattern of the doily on the gel plate. And just using some tracing paper. There you go. You can really see the pattern come through now. Just going to lift that pattern off the gel plate. This gel plate is quite a sticky gel plate, but as you add more and more paint to it, it works a bit better. Here we go. Keep lifting, lifting, lifting. There we go. Isn't that pretty? And it's on like tracing paper, so it almost works like vellum. Okay, so I'll pop that to dry. Let's do kind of a goldy one. Okay, let's just getting that on. And I saw on another page I was in, someone just lightly sprayed it with water. Okay. Just going to give that a minute, 20 seconds or so, just to kind of seep. And then using, what paper shall we use? Oh, should we use this one? So what they did, by adding the water, you can see it's starting to split the paint. And all I'm going to do is using that map page that we had for the silver tree. So it has got the silver paint underneath. Just going to lift. Look at that. And it's created like a little marbledy type effect. Quite like that. I'm just going to dab it with my kitchen towel, take some of the moisture off, leaving some of the paint on there still. So you can see we've got spaces where there isn't really any paint and spaces where there's loads. And then let's just, so I'm just using scraps of paper really. So it's just lifting the paint a little, giving you that kind of mottled, aged effect. Right, let's go in with some brune. Making sure that is really covered. Okay, I'm just using my kitchen towel again. I'm just going to scrunch, just dab the gel plate. I love just having fun with the gel plate, just creating different effects, different textures, different prints. I'm going to go in with this paper. So this is, oh, sorry, I'm making you dizzy now. There you go. So just going in with this paper. Okay, and then let's see if this will lift off. Ooh, it's lifting really nicely. There you go, that's lifted quite nicely actually. So that's another nice bit of paper. This is where I end up with bits of paper everywhere. Just going to go in with a tiny blob of white, because there's still quite a lot of brown on my bray. And I am picking up little bits of paper. I think there's one on my bray. There we go. But as I say, I'm not too precious when I do gel plate. And I know there's like techniques you can do for image transfer on the gel plate. I haven't had much luck with that, so I just stick to making background papers. So there is my coaster. Just going to pop it down. It creates almost like an allium kind of round flower effect. Pop it down. Pressing it down. Pressing it down. Pressing it down. Let's go over the top of those two. Pressing it down. Ooh, I like that. Where is let's, oh, excusez-moi, s'il vous plaît. I've got some really thin kind of parchment paper type paper. So I'm trying to create lots of different patterned images so that I can create a layer on my page. Oh, I think that's my favourite so far. Look at that. Beautiful. Let's do 2 or 3 more and then I'll pause while they all finish drying and then we will create the page. So let's take that bit of paper off the bray. Whoop! Okay, and there is still loads of paint, so we're not going to worry about putting any more paint on. And I'm just going to use my little scrapey. So this is just a piece of cardboard that I cut with my pinking shears. I'm just going to scrape it across. and down, maybe to the other side as well, just creating a pattern textured background. And I'm going to show you what happens. It might not happen today, but I'm going to show you what happens when I tend to use copy paper. So this is one of the background sheets from Sandra's kit, and so just, oh yeah, no, see, this is what happens when I use copy paper, is it starts to stick. But let's see if we can't lift it off without it tearing the page. Ooh, it is actually coming off quite nicely. Excellent. Do like it when it works. Ooh, it's really sticky. But copy paper I find really sticks to the gel plate. But that one actually has come off quite nicely. That's quite a nice effect, isn't it? Right, let's just add a little bit more paint. Let's go in with... yeah, let's just do a dark one. You can see why I put protection over the desk. I get covered in it. Look, absolutely. And I'm not actually touching the ink, the gel plate with my hands, yet my hands are covered. Okay, we have got a little bit of paper in there, but that's okay. So just, okay, what's in my drawer? Let's use this Lego board. This prints quite nicely, so I'm just going to come in at the bottom corner, give it a press down, top corner, give it a press down, and then what else should we have? Oh yeah, look, here's the other coaster that was the pattern. Let's have that pattern on there as well. Just press that down and press that down. Okay, I quite like that. We've got a little bit of kind of nothing in the corner there, so let's just scrape out. There we go. So what should I use? Let's use another piece of that really fine, like baking parchment paper. I think it's actually lining paper. I picked up a whole pad of it from a charity shop. So let's just do that one. Okay, and we're going to lift. This paper does print well. Really pleased with that. There we go. It's another beautiful one. And we're just going to use up the paint that's on the roller. Just take that one off. So giving the roller a good roll. Let's just use up the paint. Just a tiny bit of water. Just using up the paint that's on the roller. This will be my last one. Let's do this. So this is just non-slip carpet lining, and I've just got a strip of it. So just pressing it down and lift. It creates a really subtle grid pattern, and lift, a really subtle grid pattern, and lift, really subtle grid pattern, and lift. And then where's the little bag of goodies? Bearing with got my little bag of goodies here, and I'm just going to go over with the cotton reel, not in any particular way, order or anything else, just going over it with the cotton reel. So we've got the grid, and because that's printing so well, I'm going to use another piece of that lining paper. And you could always add another colour and print again. You can just use what you've already printed to print again. And then lifting that. It's really sticky. So there's another beautiful print. That lining paper prints really well. I'm so glad I got loads of it. Right, now to clean my thing, my gel plate, just going to use a baby wipe. Just the one, Mrs. Wembley, and I'm just going to give it a quick wipe over. And then I'll just leave that to one side. I do give it a quick rinse under the warm tap just to get off any last ink. But when I do my gel plates, I'm not too fussed by adding some ink from the previous ones onto it. So there is my, let's move the gel plate out the way, move that out of the way. So you can see we've created quite a bank of different papers that can be layered up to be used in my journal. So that was the one we just added water to the ink, scraping, that was just using up the ink, bubble wrap, more bubble wrap, and actually the doily is quite a nice colour. We've got that one, that one, that one, if you remember, was just ragging it with the kitchen towel. And then we've got that one on the tracing paper. So I've got quite a few now. Just going to give it 2 or 3 minutes to tidy up my desk, let them dry, and then we will come and create the page. Okay, so now we've got all our printed papers nice and dry. And I might not use all of them, but I'm going to definitely use them. And I've also printed off this sheet from the kit that has the images of all the animals. And I'm just going to carefully tear out each animal. And what I want to do is I want to create like a little cluster of the printed papers behind each of the animals and have them on the page. So we've got the foxes, we've got the owls, and I know I said I was keeping this journal simple, and I think it is getting a little bit more complicated as I go through, but as I'm going through I'm kind of picking up my crafting mojo again. So I'm able to just have a little bit more energy for the page. And now I'm not feeling so ick as well. Kind of, I've got that energy to create a little bit more. And that's the nice thing about Junk Journal January, is it gives you back that kind of crafting mojo energy when it's all a bit dark and dreary outside. And then finally, just going to tear that all the way off. Finally, I'm just going to tear around the mice. And if you haven't already started or you haven't downloaded the kit, you can download this kit that was digitally designed in collaboration between Sandra from Be Happy Stationery and Jeanette from Crafting Dragon Designs. And you can download the kit for 50% off using the code in the description below. So we've got our 4 images. I'm just going to take some of that white off. I don't really want a lot of white. And actually, I might not use the fox because we had the fox yesterday. So let's open up to our page. And I'm just going to create, I promised you a belly band, so I'm just going to create a belly band. And what we're going to do is we're going to turn these little clusters into hidden paper clip clusters that you can use in any of your pages. So I'm just going to use the belly band. And another exciting present that I bought myself with my voucher, after seeing Lindsay's, I was like, oh, I like those. So I went and got myself some paint sticks. So these were $6.99 for 24 in the kids section in the range. And they're just, they're almost like oil pastels, but they're less messy because they're in this casing. It looks like a little glue stick. So I'm just going to add a little bit of that shimmer from the paint stick to the edge of my, what's going to be my belly band, just to add in a little bit in, rubbing it in. So this is the bronzy gold one. Just add in. So Lindsay, thank you so much for showing me your paint sticks. I've never even knew these things existed. And I was like, right, I'm going to the range. I'm going to go and look for some. I'm going to spend some of my voucher. And I did. I've still got a little bit left on my voucher, which is quite nice. So yeah, they were a real little steal. So we're going to stick that down. I'm going to use this glue because it's stronger. So all I want to do is just a line of glue at the top, line of glue at the bottom. And I'm going to stick that literally just slightly off the middle of the page. So we're just going to put that to one side to dry. There you go. So that will create the belly band. And as I said before, you can tuck things in, or like I'm going to do, I'm going to create hidden paper clips. And I do have, in true Blue Peter fashion, here's some I made. Sometimes when I'm in a funk and I don't know what I want to do, I just sit and I just make these. You can have a look back through my channel and I show you how to make them. I might do a quick 10-minute task video recap on how to make those. So going to choose a paper to start with. Let's choose this one, and all I'm going to do for each of the clusters is I'm just going to put a layer of glue on the layer before, and then I'm just going to tear around it so a little bit of it is sticking out. So this was the kind of rag roll on kind of telephone directory paper, and then I'm going to put another layer of glue on and stick it down again. This was the map paper that we had blown that silver tree, and actually the silver's still not dry. I am making this video the same day as I made the silver tree video. And let's have, should we have one more layer? I think so. So let's go with another contrast. Ooh! Let's have it on some of that lace, yeah. So again, just sticking a big blodge of glue on it. On the paper doily, just sticking it in that corner. And just, actually this is really easy to tear because you're just tearing into the pattern that's already there. Okay, so there's one. And to stick the paper clip on the back, that's the top. So I'm going to stick it at an angle so that it goes onto the belly band. And I am going to use the stronger glue and just stick that down. Nearly out of my favourite glue. I'm just going to come in at an angle there. And I always just lift that a little. There you go. Can. Okay, so there's one. There's the hedgehogs. Doesn't that look cute? So I'm going to do the other two, and then I'll come back at the end and we will pop them on the page. Okay, so I actually have only done 2 of them because looking at how big the clusters become, I don't think we're going to get fit 3 on the page. So I've just layered up that printed paper and just using my paint markers, my Lindsey inspired Christmas present to myself using my voucher. I'm just going to take it round the edge of this one, and they are really, they're like as I said, they're like acrylic, not acrylic, oil pastels, but a little bit neater. Okay, so that's that one. Let's get that gold. Just put a little bit of gold bronze on to this one. So while this page has taken quite a while to make, actually the processes are still quite simple, and yeah, I will upload at a later date a little video on how to make hidden paper clips, but there are so many of them out there. So there we go, there is. So that will just clip onto the belly band, which just allows you to move them round. Come on. She says. All right, so we've clipped those on. We've clipped that one on. Why is that not? Because what I've done is I've clipped them onto the wrong sides. Right, that one goes there. And then that one goes in like that. There we go. So they are clipped into the belly band. Just creating my, no, I think I've done them both at the same angle. There we go. There we go. Right, so they are printed. Haven't lost my printed prompt. What I might do though is just use a little bit of what I've got left just to add something to that page. As we're going clustery, let's add a little bit of a cluster to the edge of the page. So just creating a little cluster on the page. We've still got that beautiful tree down below, and I'm going to have my little prompt over there. So we've got hidden paper clips. Let's see if we can't just, oh no, that's really stuck down. I was just going to see if I can move them. Let's just, this one might just clip in that corner there. Would help if I let everything dry. Right, yes, there we go. We've got that one there and that one there. I have to put a little bit of glue up that top to reduce. So there we go. There is our printed, gel plate printed papers, creating cluster hidden paper clips. Oh, giveaway. Excellent. Right, so I'm going to pop that away. So, as promised, I have started to fill the envelope. I had to make a new one because the other one that I was going to use wasn't going to hold everything. So I've started to fill this envelope with goodies from my stash. A bit of brown paper, some Harry Potter printed tissue paper, some sheet music, some of that wallpaper, a couple of sheets of the background, wrapping paper, matte pages, and this beautiful concertina pocket that I made using one of Lindsay's other kits, and for the life of me I can't remember which one it is. And I will put in some of those gel plate prints that I haven't used. So these ones are not used. Let's pop that in as well. So you've got a couple of pages of gel plate. Let's pop that one in as well. So there we go. They can go in there as well. And I'll just keep adding to it. Got a little bit of my scrap roll, and we'll just keep adding to it each day to create the giveaway. So how do I win this, I hear you ask? You need to join my Facebook group, Claire's Crafting Community, and share a picture of one of your Junk Journal January pages or your journal make. And yeah, unfortunately it's UK only, so please let me know if you're not in the UK, because I won't enter you into the draw. But yeah, so look, it's already starting to fill up, and we will seal that up and get that sent to you at the end of January. Thanks for watching. Join me tomorrow for day 17. Oh, we're flying through it now. Happy journaling.